Hey everyone! In today's video, I'm going to show you what I have been eating in the past month. It's mainly been carnivore-friendly foods with a little bit of non-carnivore foods, which you are going to see in a bit. However, the biggest element that I have focused on the most is making sure that I manage my dopamine and I kept anything addictive to a minimum so that I can regulate my food intake and so that it would not trigger cravings or binges or things like that. Lately, I have been obsessed with air frying chicken wings and chicken thighs with the skin on. If you haven't tried that yet, it is a game changer. I don't put anything on top of it except for Himalayan pink salt, and it's absolutely delicious. So as you can see here, I'm having chicken wings, chicken breast, and some whipped butter that is salted with some pink Himalayan salt on the side. As a snack lately, I've been loving frying cheese, or it can be called halloumi cheese. It's the same thing that I fry on a pan, and some pork rinds for a little bit of crunch. And then for dinner, it's been ground beef, 80% lean with some light sour cream. I usually use just a quarter cup of that using a measuring cup, and some chicken wings. The moment you add dairy to a carnivore diet, I think it's very difficult not to track. And so if you want to be able to keep adding a little bit of dairy here and there, it's a fantastic idea to keep tracking exactly how many calories you're eating off of that. Some other meals that I've had during this month are salmon with some chicken wings and whipped butter. I discovered that salmon cooked in an air fryer doesn't work at all because it really dries it out, and I do not recommend that. You want to cook a salmon so that it retains its juices, so I prefer to cook it on a pan. And as you can see here, I love the combination of chicken wings and chicken thighs with some whipped butter on the side, eggs and bacon thick cut with some baby Swiss cheese on the eggs. That's usually what I like to take with me anytime we go to the beach, and I like to have it as my first meal of the day a few hours after getting to the beach is when I really start to get hungry. Also, sometimes I'll just have salmon with some whipped butter on the side. And if I particularly have a strong craving for something, I choose something that's addictive or non-carnivore, but that also has a high protein content. So I've been having like 1 or 2 Kodiak muffin cupcakes, which have 10 to 12 grams of protein in them, and you pop them in the microwave. It's obviously not the best choice if you have an autoimmune issue or something that's gonna flare up if you have that. But if we're just talking cravings, binge eating, things like that, you do not want to go for an actual cupcake that's just pure carbohydrates, and it's gonna drain all that dopamine from your brain in a second. So having that Kodiak muffin, and I top it with a little bit of sugar-free Lily's chocolate chips, I had like 1 or 2 this past month, is actually not that stimulating for my brain. And so I can very easily have that, let it go and not think about it again, and it will not trigger thoughts about addictive foods for like days after that, the way that it used to be in the past when I would just have anything if I were to have a binge, and I would just have actual cake or actual cupcakes or whatever the case may be. Also, if you've noticed in the previous What I Eat in a Day videos, I've had a lot of light mayo. So I've cut that out, and as you can see, I've had some whipped butter instead. However, in the beginning of the month, I still had a little bit of light mayo, and I was finishing the jar up. So I would have some eggs, boiled eggs mixed with light mayo, and it's absolutely delicious. I think it's probably, I don't know, I haven't tried eggs, like boiled eggs with whipped butter. I like to have a little extra fat when I'm eating eggs than just pure boiled eggs. So I'm not sure exactly if I'm going to do boiled eggs with something else on the side. Right now, every time I'm eating eggs, I'm just adding a little bit of slice of cheese with some bacon, and it works out perfectly for me. And then also the beginning of the month, again, I still had a little bit of light mayo. You can see me having eggs with sausage and some light mayo and sugar-free ketchup mixed in. Again, I cut those out just because I don't think it's a fantastic idea to mix it with the sugar-free ketchup just for my gut health and microbiome microbiome. And you can see a lot of sparkling ice in the beginning of the month, where I would have a little bit of Gatorade or sparkling ice, which are artificially sweetened beverages. I also cut that habit. So I think it's been like maybe 3 weeks where I haven't been having that. And really, it wasn't even a struggle. Like, this isn't something that I struggle with, like, oh, I gotta have those artificially sweetened foods. So the moment I decided to stop having those artificially sweetened beverages, I just decided. And like the next day I didn't have any, and I didn't even think twice about it. So I do understand different people have different levels of attachment to those kinds of foods, but for me it was pretty easy. If I were having things like cakes and cookies on a regular basis, that is something that my brain struggles a lot to stop having it if I get into a routine of having them. So this is why I don't play around with this stuff. But with, the sparkling ice and things like that, it was easy for me to just decide to stop having it. And I just, as you can see in like the latter portion of the month, it was pretty easy to not have it. I also forgot to mention carnivore crisps and the carnivore bars. I always keep them with me anytime I go. I never leave the house without them. And a lot of times, especially when I'm in a rush, I'll just take some carnivore crisps, and I'll usually take one baby Swiss cheese and add it to a bunch of the carnivore crisps, especially the brisket is my favorite. And I put it for like 10 seconds in the microwave, and I take it on a paper plate with me if we're like rushing out the door. And I have that almost every other day. I feel like I'm usually rushing, and so I'll have that. Do use my code to get 10% off. It's Dr. Sarah for 10% off on carnivorecrisps.com. And also for the carnivore bar, check out my link. I'm gonna pop it here for you. That's also a very easy, portable, delicious carnivore snack. And I'm so happy you're loving my dopamine body weight loss guide. If you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you check it out. It's gonna help you learn exactly how many calories you want to be consuming, how to hit the appropriate amount of protein. So macros are actually very, very important, just as important as the amount of calories that you want to hit per day, depending on your goals. So it's going to guide you through all of that. It has sample meal plans that are keto and carnivore, and it will teach you also how to formulate your exercise plan. This is really what I do with my one-on-one coaching clients. So I wanted to put that information in a guide that's more accessible to people if you cannot afford to work with me one-on-one. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed my update on what I eat in a day. Hopefully I will keep you posted in the future if I change any habits. But generally, eating a carnivore diet is just the easiest thing for my brain. I have food freedom and I have peace around food, and I don't really am constantly thinking, can I fit this food in or that food in? It's just, as long as it's unprocessed, non-addictive, my brain is relaxed and I'm happy. And I hope that you can find that same food freedom that I have. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell icon so YouTube alerts you every time I post a new video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.